Hello, everyone. How a day. Welcome to NDISCO'S Village Meeting Podcast. This is episode 23, series 3. I welcome you warmly to uh, this particular talk that is important, I think, to all of us, men, women, children, old, young alike. And it came as a question, but I think some of us, or if not all of us, have stumbled on this in the past or even currently, and then we are not sure what to do with it. So I did some digging and heard what other people had to say about this particular topic. So let's dig into that now. This is Africa and society, culture, society, for those at the homestead and also in diaspora. And what we do here is we talk about everything, everything, as much as we can and as best as we can. And what we do is to touch on all those aspects of the African lifestyle that we do back home, as well as we try to carry out, in other people's lands, and hopefully share what we have and what we do with them all, and maybe learn one or two of what they do, right, in order not to clash cultures and be able to better our lives and better theirs as we go ahead. So let's talk about this particular one. Um, one of my really young, smart ones asked me a question, and I needed to share that because I've had that question one before. And this is what it is. This young one, again, like I said, I've heard it severally and I've given one or two answers. But what I do here is when I have questions that are recurring or recurrent, I try to now share my responses that could change in the future um, of the currency of the information. But so that many will, not ask the same question again because I get several questions repeated. I'm talking to individuals, they don't know what others know already. So it comes in the frame of this nature that, Auntie, my friend has a serious issue with some simple hygiene aspects, and some other things added to that. But the big question is, how do I share my concerns as a friend or concerns if they have several hygiene, untoward practices? How do they really correct this or share with them without spoiling their friendship? And you and I will always know and realize that this happens a whole lot. You don't even know where to start. You don't know what to do. So if you ever find yourself in such circumstance, what would you do? So that's our topic for the day. And as with other topics, I went in and I dug in, and I wanted to know if anybody else has encountered this and compare what has been heard from several aspects, schools of thought, like I call them, you know, um, to know what they have said towards this. This is a very, very fragile topic or situation to be in. So we have to, first of all, be very, very careful how we approach that because we're dealing with humans, right? So um, the first of all, let's talk about what is hygiene to start with. So, putting together also definition out there by several people says it's a condition or they are conditions or practices, you know, um, that are conducive to maintaining health. So if you practice that in a good way, you maintain health and you prevent diseases, especially through cleanliness. So this is what we're talking about today. And there are so many types of hygiene, industrial hygiene, mental hygiene, personal hygiene. So today we are going to focus on personal hygiene because I think that's what their questions were, pointing at. Now, we all know that even in school, especially in elementary schools, secondary schools, and even in college, we have people who have really bad hygiene practices and um, even grown-ups, parents. There are people who go into their homes, you won't even want to eat from their hands or what they cook because of their hygiene practices. It manifests in so many ways. So we're not going to go into all nitty-gritty details, but we're going to talk about a little bit of each aspect. So what makes up our hygiene, our personal hygiene? Okay? Those are the things that involve all parts of our body. Okay? All parts of our body from head to toe. So if we are going to pick each of them, we're going to dissect a little bit of how they come about being unhygienic. Now, that's a joke that a friend of mine used to have. He said, "Oh, if you tell her you smell something," she said, make sure you first of all smell yourself under your nose. Maybe it's coming from you. So before you accuse your friend of, having some kind of smell or not keeping up with hygiene, check yourself first. Maybe that odor is coming from you or whatever it is coming from you, not your friend. That's a joke, but that's a reality. So check yourself first. Is what you are accusing or looking or concerned about somebody else, is that you? And you're perceiving that from somebody else's view. So you make sure you check that first. But then if you now know, yes, there are serious issues, ask yourself what aspect it is. So if we look at the aspects of these unhygienic practices, then we can find a way to tell our friend. Um, we are going to talk about the aspects of well-being. When I say personal hygiene, those things that will keep us physically okay, mentally okay, at least to boost our well-being. Because when you feel good, you look good, you smell good, you life is good. You go about your day bouncing. But when you are not fresh, you're not feeling like you are on top of your game, that's when you start, the confidence goes out the window. So it's a very, very important aspect of growing up. It's a very important aspect of living, whether you're old or young. And it needs to start from the beginning, almost from birth, to teach people how to be able to do that. So let's take number one. There are 8 aspects of this head to toe, and there are some other areas of the body that I'm not going to talk about, but I'm going to talk about the major ones. Our body, the entire body, bathing. We say some people have BO, what we call BO in Nigeria, body odor, and that comes from, each individual has oil that comes off their skin. And that is why all scales, your body replenishes the skin as often as possible. And so that's why the body, when it sheds skins or sheds some oil or something, it sticks, it sticks with the dirt that we gather. And then after some time, they start giving a different kind of smell. Of course, there are people who, no matter how much they take care of themselves, there are inherent some odors that are part of an human their scent. We call it their scent. So make sure you differentiate between the scent and the odor. That's Go look that up. Okay. So the case with the body is bathing, bathing. You bathe. Bathing or bathing, like some people will say, is a way of getting rid of those dry, shedding skins, oil, and all that. And it doesn't have to be, the use of expensive soap to really cleanse that or those. The simplest of soaps. And even in the olden days, our grandparents used to make, soap from nothing, ashes, and some kind of oil added to them. And because provided they are bringing a ladder, the ladder that will take care of the oil. And if you even look to the people in the Victorian era, they they didn't really know they make their soaps after washing for a long time without any. So, but the most important thing is to ask yourself or make sure your friend who you are concerned about has a relationship with water. they 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 have a relationship with water. They bathe. And it doesn't matter how many times, whether you are consistent. Some people bathe once a day. Some do. I've seen people who do 3 times a day, which, sometimes people will tell you is too much for the skin, or twice. Some people may not like the whole use of water because water scarcity is real in some areas, or it's too cold to do that. They use their towels, wet their towels to wipe themselves down. Whatever you do is to get rid of those dead skins, the oil, and all that. So bathing to eliminate the body odor is one thing that may be wrong with your friend or this person asking. Hand washing, you know, people ask, when do you wash your hands? My answer, and any person who is involved with any type of health, or will tell you, or non-health, being a mother or a father or anybody will tell you, washing of your hands is the biggest thing you can do to protect your physical and mental well-being, because our fingers gather so much in the way of germs and all that. We touch a whole lot. And when you touch, you pick up something. And one of the things that people said during the COVID times that saved a lot of people, washing of hands. And that habit has followed a lot of people up till today, like touching anything. And you have many people carry around sanitizers now to make sure that their hands are clean. It doesn't matter how many times you keep them clean or wipe them down. Make sure that they are clean enough not to pick any germ, because they go to your eyes, to your mouth, and that spreads that aspect. So that cannot be overemphasized. Even if you wear gloves, people tell you, when you take off your gloves, hand washing for a few minutes. And we teach our children how to do that from the start. So that, and again, it doesn't matter when, how. People are encouraged to wash with soap and make sure you scrub under the fingers and all that. You know that. I'm not going to teach you how to hand wash. We all learned that during COVID. The other aspect of, you could ask whether your friend in that category is, hygienic, is oral hygiene, dental hygiene. What relationship do they have with the toothbrush, if not even the toothbrush? In the African way, we're in an African setting here. We use our chewing sticks. Some people even use charcoal. Whatever works for you. Tribally, we have things, even some. Back in Igbo land, we have sticks or kind of things that are gotten from the bushes that we use as chewing stick. And they do the same thing that the Sensodyne or Colgate or any other toothpaste out here does. So take care of your oral hygiene. Some people floss. Make sure your tongue is not forgotten because all those trash out there, they may cause the mouth odor as well. Chewing gum will not take that away, or any kind of mint will not take away the odor completely. You must wash. And some people do it more than once a day or after every eating. Okay. Um, it's your friend, the aspect of the unhygienic nature um, has to do with nails, especially the women. Some of them have so long nails that you wonder how they function. Wow. And some people have the opinion that no matter how clean you have your nails, the underneath the nails cannot be extra clean if you have really long nails. So um, I'm not here to um, uh, look down on people who have long nails. Please do if you love that. But if you can keep them clean and keep them manicured, that would be nice because there is nothing that looks really unhealthy like cheap nails, nails with have paint on them and all that. But really long nails, they sometimes look unnice, especially in a professional setting. Okay. And if they are looking brown and yellow most of the time, maybe you are seeing something in your friend that you need to talk about. The other aspect that I want to add is clothing. Now, we all like to look good, right? But the aspect of that is keeping it clean, keeping your clothing clean. And I have seen people who they just pick up their clothing or their dresses or trousers and all that, pants, and they're like, oh, it looks clean, and they put it on. You forget that there is something called sweat. We sweat a lot, especially in Africa. We sweat a lot, and not even outside of Africa, where this is summer, we're getting into people sweat. And sweat has the minerals that make up the sweat, they can cause odor also. And you can tell. I am good. There was the last time I traveled, I told a friend, I said, your, what happened to your shirt, you know? And they said, I just wore it. No, I said, have you worn it before once? Yes. Okay, it may not look dirty, but the sweat, no matter, men sometimes say they wear singlet inside and wear and so it soaks through. So what somebody had told us in the past is that if you wear any clothes once and if you sweat that in it, you got to rinse it out. Rinse it out in water immediately. You don't even have to have soap. Rinse the sweat out because it's bound to smell the following day. And you and I from Africa, we know that smell of sweat on his shirt. No matter how dry it is, you're going to perceive that odor again and again. So the aspect is to wash your clothes, especially the underwears. Some people, some people think, okay, if they wear their underwears upside down, inside out, actually, that no, it keeps it clean. No, the odor is still, I mean, it's part of your body. Again, the oil, you may not have had any extra stuff in it, but it's your sweat that is, that you wash. Even the ladies, your bras also soak up sweat. So you got to wash these things um, if you sweat. And some people wear it once and they wash, some people twice and they wash. It depends on what your comfort level is. But know that if you don't wash, somebody's bound to perceive that out, as well as stockings. You wear your socks, you say it doesn't smell. Our feet have dead tissues that really bring their own odor as well. The other aspect is menstrual and genital hygiene. That's a big one. That's a really big one. I'm sorry to say that, but you will see some people who are really dressed to the T, everything coiffed so nice and all that, but you could smell whatever is coming from everywhere else, because in their menstrual cycles, they were not doing well with that. The men's area also, men, some of them don't take care of their genital areas, that you feel that, or sense that odor as you pass people by or sit with them in any settings. Okay. Perfumes do not do the miracle all the time. No matter how much you spray that, there is a distinct, the odor of the oil and the stuff of the body that has attached themselves to your clothing. Okay. And then for the menstrual cycle, it's not enough that you have the pad or the other aspects of sanitary materials that you use, and then you keep repeating the underwear. You got to wash. You got to wash all these things out and clean those areas as well. And that goes also with when you're washing your body. Women, some people, I don't know, that's the essence of really home economics in schools and hygiene classes in schools, because they will teach you that washing the surface of your, private parts is not enough. You got to really, really wash inside of them. And the female aspect, you got to like, you are asked to squat, and so that you can clean inside to out. And for the men, you are expected to lift and wash the underneath of every corner of your private parts. It's a topic that is really not pleasant, embarrassing to talk about, but we have to talk about these things. It's just what it is, and that's how we talk to the young ones and let them know that this is important. So it's important because despite the fact that nobody sees those, but scratching yourself in public in those areas because something is growing, because if you don't take care of stuff, other little God created creatures will start growing. And we know that lice and all the things that could grow down there if you are not keeping yourself hygienic. The other aspect is hair, our hair and our grooming. Okay, now that's a big one. For the ladies, we now wear wigs, we braid our hair, we do all types of stuff in it. And some of us who like low cuts have, for many, many decades now, worn that because we like water on our hair and we go away and cannot wear wig even if our lives depend on it. We tried. But the thing is, nobody is saying you can wear. Please do what makes you happy. But what we are talking about here is to make sure those are clean. That is part of your personal hygiene. We've seen people who braid hair and they stay for months and they wash them with the thread and all that on, but then you also see them scratching their roots and all that. You got to groom. Everywhere can get dry, including your head or your hair or your scalp. So you take care of those. I'm not one of the proponents of what they call dry wash of hair. I don't know what that is, because if you are using any chemical to just dry wash your hair, the dirt is sitting there. The dirt is supposed to be washed out. Now, there are people who wear wigs that are not washed or not cleaned, and these wigs are made from either um, um, some other materials, or like they say, from other humans. And if it's not taken care of properly, you have little lice and stuff growing on them and worms. We've seen those pictures before. And you see people scratching their hair and going about. That's serious hygiene problem. So if you could take care of those and they look good, and make sure that they're devoid of any crawling stuff that makes you um, go about your business in a groomed way. So that's part of grooming. You keep it short, you keep it clean, And it doesn't matter what the style is. Even if you want to have a chopped up one, make sure it's clean. Last but not the least is making sure that what all these things I've talked about are not Marcelina talking about them. It's what consensus have talked about, and I just collated all these and sharing with you. And these things you know already. Your mother or your dad have told you that before now, and you have read about it, you have practiced that. But some people around us still don't. I don't know how many of you have gone to the bathroom and you see some people walk out of the store where they did number one and number two and walk out of the bathroom without washing their hands. And you wonder. So that person is going to touch something else. They could be in a grocery store touching something. That's why we are asked to wash and wash again, and make sure we are all healthy, because somebody else can introduce these diseases or germs on somebody else unknowingly, or and or you pick it up unknowingly. So the last aspect is teaching our children hygiene. And we cannot wait till they are old before we do that. We start when they can't even know what we're saying. Wash your hands. Those little bitty podgy hands have to be shown how to be washed. Wash it. Children learn so fast. Take care of their own clothes, and understand what grooming is, moving forward, especially for the girls. It's not enough to say, oh, Mary, go bathe yourself, or John, go bathe yourself. You got to show them how to really bathe, especially in the private areas, so that they know to keep everywhere clean. And that's how we are all taught growing up. Okay. So I talked about all the at least 8 aspects of the hygiene, personal hygiene areas that we are asked to keep an eye on. The body, which is the bathing aspect that produces the body odor, the hand washing, to make sure we're not picking up germs with our fingers, the oral hygiene, the dental aspect, our mouth odor, how do we make sure our gums are not going to bleed and all that. Or even our tongues, we brush that area as well. Our nails, what do we do with those? We make sure they are healthy looking. Menstrual and genital hygiene, we want to, keep an eye on that. Clothing, we must wash our clothing because they pick up all the sweat and everything else in between. And to say that they are not looking dirty and we put them back on, they're bound to smell. And we must teach our children from the start. And so I shared with this young person, like, all these aspects that we have talked about. You can't say to just somebody, and now this comes the aspect of how do I approach this? How do I tell my friend without losing our friendship? Is to make sure I'm not saying to my friend, oh, you have hygiene, you don't have good hygiene practices. No, because you got to tell them exactly what aspect of these 8 items that I mentioned that they are not keeping up with. Okay, so the bathing aspect and all the aspects that I have mentioned, each one of them, if they are out of these 8, 1 or 2 or 3, you tell this person exactly which ones. If there are, all of them, let them know. Okay, so you can't just condemn, and like, but we have been told to start with compliments. In corporate or even ordinary places, we said if you start with compliments to somebody, and then give them the bad aspects, that's just the way to go. You are a beautiful person. If they are beautiful, don't lie to them. Okay, so you're beautiful. You have good this. You have good that. But then you lower the hammer, and you don't tell them that in front of everybody else. You make it private when you are with them, when you are sitting next to them, when you are in the room alone with them. You can pick up the clothing or you point out the aspect Or you kind of make an appointment and take them to that and say, no, let me do this for you because of XYZ. A good friend would acknowledge your effort to help them. They will like, oh, I didn't know. And because many people don't know, they put on that shirt that is sweat has dealt with and they're smelling and they don't know. So it's for you to say, I don't think that smells good, well or good. But there are people who you tell that they say, oh, it doesn't matter. In that case, you've done your own part and you let them wear and go. And they put perfume, they don't know that it's still smelling that way. And there are people who you've told that look, your underwear is showing, or you have a toilet roll coming out of your back, and they're like, leave me alone. You let them go, but you got to tell them. There are people who have their fly is open, and some people just look at them, excuse me, and go their way. That's not fair. They didn't know. That's where we are humans. We help each other. The approach is not to embarrass them. The approach is to go closer to them and say, "Did you know that?" Da da da. If they're doing it to really expose themselves, that's a different issue. Together, you have done your part. You have shared what you observed. In honor of them, so that's the decency we all have. So to my young one, what I shared with them is make sure you are approaching the topic in a sensitive manner. Make sure you're not doing it in public. It's just between the two of you. And make sure you also have a way of helping them out if they can't by themselves. So if you tell somebody who has a broken hand that their hair is dirty and all that, you're not doing them a favor. You are really putting them, to stay home. But if you offer to help them wash their hair because they are handicapped to do that, that's somebody's like, oh, I don't have, yeah, my, menstrual stuff is that way because I don't have money to buy pad, or even you either buy for them or you find a way to show them how to improvise. After all, before the advent of the sanitary pad, people were using other means. Our parents and forefathers and some mothers used to handle these cycles well, and a whole lot of ways. You go to places where you learn alternatives. I don't know how many of you have gotten to a place where you want to brush your teeth, you don't have toothpaste. You ran out or you forgot to pack one. You go to plan B, and remember other aspects to brush your teeth, make them not smell as you go out. Okay? So again, sensitivity is the key here, and respecting this person enough to tell them privately. And the sensitive person will take your correction without seeing it as an affront. And so there isn't any reason to lose your friendship because of that, unless this person, is not a reasonable person. So you've done your part and let it go. Okay? So that's one of our topics for today, and we will be back on another topic another day. Keep those questions coming, and what I share are those that I know are a little bit universal that people would know, but the private one-on-ones I keep the confidentiality part of that aspect. But if it's general enough, I will always share. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful, wonderful time. And good morning again, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Blessings.